Did you know there are survey markers or benchmarks in Fallout 76? Yep, that's right. Here's everything you need to know. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. In this one, I'm going to put my detective hat on and explore some sort of mystery, which I believe not many people know about. Survey marks. That's right, they look like coins, but they are much bigger and they are not exactly, well, a coin. There's much more information going on there. Now, I want to leave a special thanks to Sirius X, who mentioned one of these survey marks to me. Without his note, I would probably never have touched this topic because I was not even aware it existed. Also, this is the perfect reminder to keep an eye on where you step. It's easy to miss the obvious when you are looking elsewhere. Anyway, survey marks or benchmarks, what are they? What do they mean? And how many are there in the wasteland? Let me answer everything the proper way. Let's dive in. So, what are survey or benchmarks exactly? Well, the answer is quite complex and I do have to refer to the real-world knowledge for this one. In simple terms, they are strategic marks usually in the shape of brass circles placed on the surface of the Earth. These key points are always above sea level and they are mostly used for two things. First, they serve as geodetic marks to allow a better study of the land, which could extend to other areas such as geology, geography, and even hydrology. The second and most common purpose, though, is a geolocation and land survey. Benchmarks are strictly reserved for elevation indicators, while horizontal position marks are used for triangulation. I know, it sounds complex, it kinda is, and with so many difficult words around, you might guess, what's the main purpose of all of this? Well, the end goal is to obtain accurate data on Earth's landscape, such as geometric shape and orientation in space. Anyway, that's what they are used for in real life, and I will get back to what it means in-game later on. Now, back to the origins we go. Okay, so there's a bunch of brass marks on the surface. No big deal, right? Who put them there though? For once, magic is not to blame. There is a real explanation here. In 76, the survey marks were placed by the United States Geological Survey Agency. They are a minor faction that appears only in Fallout 76 and Fallout New Vegas with the Honest Hearts DLC. They are not a very in-depth faction, as you can imagine, and they have an emergency system for seismic events and mine shafts, which obviously went off when the nukes dropped in Appalachia. Now, the survey marks were obviously placed before the Great War, and the main purpose are the exact same as in real life. They are used for geodetic and land survey data. Now, just out of curiosity, I checked who is responsible for this sort of job in the USA, and it's the National Geodetic Survey. They even have an extensive website with an interactive map and so on, which I will show you in a little bit. Before I show you where to find all the benchmarks in-game, let me inform you that they are all based on real-life survey marks. No joke, Bethesda went all the way with this small detail, which most players don't even realize it exists. But they surely didn't take this lightly. It's quite interesting how many secrets and mysteries the Fallout world actually features. Anyway, the 76 survey marks were created by John Valenti, a developer and artist who has worked a lot on Fallout 4. He was actually responsible for giving life to over 100 locations there, and then he moved to 76 as well. Now, I took the freedom to compare in real-life survey marks, and they are impressively close to what we have in-game. All the main elements are there at least. Obviously, the models and identification patterns follow the US laws, but something I discovered is that they are clearly not all the same. Survey marks often contain arrows in the center and they indicate the horizontal position, while the benchmarks indicate the elevation and feature a triangle in the middle, which is exactly what we have in-game. Benchmarks with a triangle and then a plus. I also noticed these triangles can contain a dot or even an arrow in real life. What does it mean though? Well, I'm no expert here, and sadly I was not able to find out what these symbols mean. If you do, feel free to share in the comments below. Now, just to give you a better idea of how this geodetic system works, I used the National Data Explorer, and as shown, there are hundreds of survey marks and benchmarks too, all over the world, and they divide the marks by control type. There are 9 of them actually. It's insane, but it makes sense, otherwise the data wouldn't be accurate enough, right? I used the spruce knob as a reference here, and the 4862 number clearly didn't match any of them, and the ID also didn't show anywhere I checked. I tried a few more areas like Sutton and Helvetia as shown, but nothing at all. So my conclusion here is that the in-game benchmarks are based on the real-life US models, and they use the same or very identical ID patterns, but they are not a replica of any of the existing ones in the real world. I was hoping for that, but I don't think that's the case. I think that's enough theory for now, so where can you find the existing benchmarks in 76? Well, first of all, there are only 5 in total. I initially thought there were more, but sadly no, there's only 5 scattered across the wasteland, but most of them are located in the Savage Divide region. Let's start with the one close to Vault 76, at the North Kanawha Lookout. You can fast travel there, and the benchmark is a few steps away, but make sure to clear the place first, because there are usually some super mutants and floaters around, so watch out, you don't want to get killed. Once you're done with the enemies, head to the left side from the spawning area, past the wooden spikes, and on this rocky formation you can spot a circle on the rock. It's very subtle, it blends perfectly with the land, but it's there, so keep your eyes wide open here. This benchmark is very worn out and some words can hardly be read anymore, but it's the 876 mark called Lansing. Okay, now moving forward to the east, we have a benchmark which is literally in the middle of nowhere. It was a bit challenging for me to find it. It's right here between the Monogam mine and the ammo dump. I'm zooming in so you can see it better. It's very close to the main train tracks on a nearby rocky formation as shown. You can use the nearby marked station as a location point. From there it should be very easy to find this benchmark, which is called cheat for whatever reason. It must be a reference to the never-ending problem we have with cheating. And the ID number is 4848, a strange number for a strange name. Let's pretend it's all a coincidence for the sake of this video. Well, at least the next mark is a killer. It has been there under your nose all along, but did you ever notice? I surely didn't, and I came here so many times for roses and the raiders' quest lines. Head to the top of the world, and right at the spawn, if you look behind you, there it is, right on the floor. At first it looks like a piece of junk, it blends really well with the surrounding wooden piece, the metal scrap, but the circle is another benchmark. It's not scrap at all, I can assure you that much. It's the Canon 1 with the ID number 4450. This is probably the best example to always remind you to look where you step. I was shocked to find it here. How comes I never saw it? No idea. Next we can find another benchmark right at the heart of the foundation. Get ready for another shocking moment, because this one is right at Ward's door. Yeah, right outside his sleeping quarters to be exact. I came here dozens and dozens of times for the Settler's Reputation Daily, and just like at the top of the world, I never noticed this was here right under my eyes. But there it is. It kind of makes you feel blind, but then again it's so small and you cannot see the letters unless you zoom in photo mode, so I think we all have an excuse for not seeing such marks. This one is the Spruce Knob one, literally with the 4862 ID number. Alright, the last one is to the east of the South Mountain Lookout. Head towards the monorail direction, past the lookout and into the nearby forest, into the rock formation. You might have to kill a few enemies like Scorched or even Jaguars, because there's a random spawn there, random encounter. Anyway, at the highest rock in this formation, you can find the 5th benchmark, called Alven, with the ID number 485. It's pretty easy to find despite being at his unmarked location out in the wild. And that's it. That's all the 5 benchmarks you can find in Fallout 76, at least for the time being. It doesn't mean they won't add new ones in the future. I don't think they will, but who knows? Anything is possible. If you have been watching closely, you are probably wondering, what do these random names and numbers mean? At least that's one of the first questions I had when I inspected the in-game benchmarks. Well, I don't think they are supposed to mean anything, honestly. In real life, the names and numbers are just a unique way to identify each mark, to make it easy to find in the respective database. Each survey and benchmark has its unique identification. Needless to say that each mark represents or displays the respective data they are associated with, such as coordinates, elevation. Some even have nearby elements like water bodies, buildings, or roadways. Just like in real life, I believe the benchmark names and numbers here are random. They don't necessarily mean anything in specific. However, some of them seem to imply something, such as the Spruce Knob one at the foundation, because Spruce Knob is the name of the lake and the nearby area, so it makes sense to have that name. And the Cheat one at the very north of the Savage Divide. I'm not entirely sure why is it called like that, but I feel like it's a hint. It's pretty clear that Bethesda knows that cheating is part of this game. There's really no denying. I mean, it's there, it has been there since the beginning, and I think it will always be there in one way or the other. So it's kind of like a spicy and twisted way to say, oh, cheating is here. Let's put it in some sort of hidden item, and well, at least one is here. I don't know if there's more, but this one is surely not a coincidence that it's called cheat and then you have 4848. I don't think so, but let's keep moving. Lastly, I will answer another interesting question I had. What is their purpose, really? Well, after checking several Fallout wiki pages and talking to a few people, I don't think they have any other purpose than what I already explained. They are a reference to in real-life benchmarks. They look very, very identical to the US models, but they do not represent existing ones in West Virginia, at least from what I checked on their real database. I still don't know what the plus inside the middle triangle means, but again, I don't think it's relevant in this context. Moreover, there are only 5 benchmarks in the wasteland, which is hardly enough for an accurate triangulation of the region. There's only so much data you can retrieve and work with from just 5 marks. So I have my doubts these benchmarks can be much of an use to someone with expertise to use them, of course. But sure, a widened degree of triangulation is still possible to establish, but maybe they are better used as geolocation points, you know, for terrain elevation or even to identify water. It's the wasteland after all, and such information is crucial for survival and repopulation purposes. More than, you know, making a proper map with the right triangulation, the right measures, the right everything, which is not really useful to you when you are in a life or death scenario. So I do believe that geolocation and land studying are the main strategies for the existing benchmarks in 76. Maybe they will be incorporated into the lore at some point, but for now they are basically there. They are like decor, you know, you cannot interact or do anything with them, but it's like a mystery. It's something not a lot of people know, and now they should. Well, that's everything I have for you regarding survey marks in Fallout 76 and in real life too. Did you know they existed before this video? Were you aware of their locations in game? And would you like to see more mysteries and facts like this one covered? Do let me know everything in the comments section below. Now, I am Marta Branco. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to let YouTube know you enjoyed the content. And a special thanks to all my supporters. You guys are amazing. Now, if you excuse me, I should go work on some news. It's about time, huh? Oh, and don't forget to look where you step. Who knows what else is hiding out there under your step. Alright, I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Adios. Bye bye.